Words from the ancient past that live in today's world. Individuality. Content from this publication has been taken from the book, The 8 Pillars of Greek Wisdom, by Stephen Bertman. My name is David Norton. After reading this book, and learning a few stories from Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, I have concluded that my life, others, and societies are reflected in the content of these stories from the past. The stories from the Iliad and the Odyssey, along with other Greek writings, have influenced some of the greatest people from the past and present, beginning with Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Alexander the Great, Shakespeare, Thomas Jefferson, and countless others. From their own words, it becomes obvious they have reaped spiritual awareness and applied these understandings to their personal and public life. Even modern-day governments, and events such as the Olympics, a multitude of sporting competitions, theater, music, and the opportunity to dream, are just a few benefits reaped from these stories. These ancient Greek stories add value to everyday life. To glean this value, it is necessary to ponder the spirits generated by these words of brilliance. Let's begin with the story of Narcissus and Echo.
Stephen Bertman's account of Echo and Narcissus. Individuality that leads to self-absorption can be fatal, as the myth of Narcissus shows. Narcissus was an extraordinarily handsome young man, loved and desired by many, but, like Hippolytus, he scorned their love and rejected advances. It is said that a nymph named Echo once fell in love with him. Echo had been punished by Hera, Zeus's wife. Unable to initiate a conversation, Echo could only repeat another's words. Once she saw Narcissus, she fell madly in love with him, but didn't know what to say. Hearing her footsteps behind him in the woods, Narcissus called out, "Is anyone here?" Echo answered.
"Is anyone here?"
"Come to me," he said.
"I am here,"
she answered. As he approached, she stepped from behind the tree and ran to embrace him, but Narcissus pulled back and ordered her leave.
"Leave,"
Echo exclaimed, then turned away sadly. The story says that she longed for Narcissus to return to the point that she grew faint, and her body disappeared, leaving only her echo behind. As for Narcissus, he eventually died, the victim of a curse from a rejected lover, stating,
"May you someday desire someone as much as others have desired you."
It didn't take long for the curse to be fulfilled. One day, walking through the woods, Narcissus came to a pool. Bending over to drink its waters, he saw the face of a beautiful young man looking up at him from beneath its surface. As he drew closer, the young man drew closer to him. As Narcissus spoke, the young man seemed to speak, though Narcissus could not hear his words. Yet as Narcissus broke through the surface of the water with his outstretched hand, the face beneath disappeared. Narcissus lay beside the pool tormented, unable to satisfy his desire, rising to look once again and falling back again in defeat, until he finally died. When Narcissus was born, his mother had asked an oracle,
"Will my son live a long life?"
"Yes," the oracle had replied, "as long as he does not know, see, himself. Even self-knowledge is fatal, if carried to an extreme. Is this a warning to each of us, to be aware of the narcissism lurking in the deep pool of our minds? In fact, one of life's dangers is falling in love with who I am at the moment instead of who I can become. No amount of gazing into a crystal ball, or pool of water, can ever show us the other us. Only time and growth can bring it forth if our passion for learning about life endures. In each situation they depend upon each other to satisfy their need. Echo was need to speak and relationship, but could only echo what others say. Narcissus was looking for the man in the pool to satisfy his own need of self-confidence.
I find it interesting that the word echo and narcissism live in many areas of our lives and still maintains a definition that was published over 2,500 years ago. Now let's look at some of the questions this story brings to mind.
Questions. Because Narcissus only knew himself, was it possible for him to relate to anyone other than himself? Why did Narcissus order Echo to leave? Did he not hear her because he was in love with himself? Did he not want or hear anyone other than himself? Did he seek a person identical to himself? As a child, what kind of an influence did Hera have upon Echo? How about the influence of the mother of Narcissus? How much of our mother's influence lives within our lives? Does this still happen today? Are the words of each of us restricted when we are intimidated for not echoing the words of our teacher? In ordering Echo to leave, is Narcissus imposing his narcissism upon Echo? Did you notice neither of them ask any questions? Do you have a story of yourself that reflects Echo and Narcissus?
I have 3 Echo and Narcissus events of my own. 2 worked out, 1 did not. At the moment I am an Uber driver. A common phrase that I see from text or hear from a rider is, I am here. Even in Spanish, I receive text stating, Estoy aquí, I am here. For instance, the other day I experienced 2 of these situations. The first was a request to pick up a person at the Baymont Inn. When I arrived, I notified my rider that I have arrived. After a few moments, when I did not see her, I texted her again. Where are you? She texted,
I am at the entrance.
I began looking around at all entrances at the Baymont Inn, but could see no one. Finally I pulled over in the parking lot and called. I asked, are you here at the Baymont Inn? She replied,
No, we're at the in-town suites next door.
At this point I was able to locate her and her party to take them to their desired destination. The very same thing happened in the afternoon of the same day. It occurred while picking up a man at an apartment complex. After arriving and waiting several minutes came the text, I am here. I responded, where is here? He said, by the lake. I said, what lake? Then he said, the apartment building on the other side of the lake from where you are at. I then realized there was a small pond behind the building I was waiting at for him. From this information I was able to locate my rider's location. I found where he was at that moment. These circumstances show to me that I have to look beyond my present position of where I am, then to ask questions to gain understanding that exist outside of myself. This happens not only in finding the location of others but also in understanding the words they are trying to convey. Even though we were both echoing, I am here, at different locations, we were able to establish a precise location through additional questions and answers. Unlike Echo and Narcissus, they could only find themselves and their instructions from their beliefs. In my own mind, I could easily accuse my riders of not identifying the right location in the app, but this would only enforce my own narcissism. But questions guide me to solutions of my simplest and deepest problems. A rider I could not find. There was one other instance when I could not find the echo of, I am here. It resulted in my own frustration of not asking the right questions and quit taking any more rides. I experienced a situation driving Uber that I will never forget. This happened when I was unable to connect to the echo of, I am here of a rider. It happened on a busy holiday night in downtown Orlando. I had just returned to the downtown area on Garland when I received a request from a woman looking for a ride. Because it was so busy I immediately called trying to find the location of this person. The woman answered and I asked, where are you? She said,
I am here.
My very next question I asked was, where is here? She responded,
I am on the right side of the street.
I could not depend on the pin locator because many times people will start walking and the locator will stay in the same spot. So, my very next question was, what street are you on? In desperation she said, I am on the right side of the street. I said to her, ask someone what the name of the street that you are on. She responded,
The right side of Orange Avenue.
Said, great, I am coming down Central Avenue, could you walk to Central Ave? I can pick you up there. She responded,
There is a bank on my right side. Which way do I go?
I had no idea where she was, and I did not know what to say, so I suggested that she cancel the ride and make a new request. I was so frustrated that I turned off my app and went home. But I have never forgot the frustration by the inability to communicate. To this day I am constantly trying to figure out what some people are trying to convey. This always happens when people do not understand the right words to convey their position in life. Just like Narcissus and Echo. They only know and understand their present position in life, and look to themselves for the answers without questioning their surroundings. Using the wrong words to question gives cause for us to never be found, and to never find ourselves the same as Echo and Narcissus.
What panda can be reaped from this story? Is there any consensus for expectation? I ask myself, are my words and ideals merely an echo of the words that have been spoken to me? In every situation, is there a need to depend upon each other with questions and answers for a roadmap to our desires? Is the other option to echo the words of others without receiving a response? Echo can only echo what others say. Was Narcissus looking for the man in the pool to satisfy his own need of self-righteousness? In what ways are people blinded by their own love for self? In today's world, when a person is shamed or intimidated in today's world, how does it impact their own individuality? Does shame have an echo? When someone is unable to verbalize themselves, is this narcissism? Is a source of learning a mere echo of other people's words without understanding the story? When someone is unable to verbalize themselves, is this narcissism? I cannot ask that question because the person I am asking will be offended or will not like me. I have two religious questions. In the book of Genesis, God gives instructions to Adam to name everything according to its kind. This Greek story actually defines two words, Echo and Narcissus, by demonstrating in a story its definition. Does the story of Genesis clearly define the intent of its original author the same as the story of Echo and Narcissus? Echo echoed and Narcissus was narcissistic, as we know these definitions in today's world. Is this a good story to demonstrate the instructions to Adam in Genesis? Is there a better way to define or name a matter or matters than with a story? Perhaps that is why our English names represent stories of people from Confucianism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Homer's stories found in the Iliad and Odyssey. Does a name tell a story of its own?